happens often in Zero Dam, and I think in a Mantle Brick round, you can weed one team out early. It's going to be a huge boon for you. But here we go. Time to get into the mix. Zero Dam is back. A little bit darker this time around, maybe, but looking good. I love a good Zero Dam. This is where we all grew up on Delta Force. This is where we all started, and I'm pumped to get back into it. I will say, Tiff, I think the best spawn right now is probably going to be those admin spawns. You know, if Europe is going to repeat itself, there's a couple different places the Mantle Bricks can spawn, and the Mantle Brick decoding stations are set in stone. For those that don't know, we do have this new tournament server that we've been talking about with this format. It's all done, and it's all given to all the players beforehand, so they can memorize all of the Mantle Brick spawns and know where all the decoding stations are. So it's been a lot of prep, a lot of strategy, a lot of teams talking about how do we play this correctly, and excited to see what they're able to do and who's able to come out on top to start. But the first thing we've got to pay attention to is where's the brick and where are the teams that start closest to the brick, and are they going to play for that brick off rip or play more defensive and play around a decoding station to potentially pick up a couple of the players that do decide to go for the brick. Hey, high risk, high reward. Oftentimes, here's a quick look. It is in the center of admin, and it does look like the Boomers and FBWL right next to it, both sprinting at it. Our first fight is gonna be in admin. We gotta have to pay attention to that, as all of our players sprinting for this brick, with Tsunami and Co. Team Squidward in blue likely coming in to play cleanup from barracks here, Tiff.
All right, call me crazy, but I thought January was actually going to show presence on the decoding station, because as you can see, as they make their way through the parking lot area, the decoding station is going to be over there. Since they spawn out towards the east of the Mantle Brick, of course you full send straight towards it, and now nowhere half health. January in equal plays here, locked in, looking to take a heated fight. I asked for early engagements, and man, game number 2, you're living up to the hype.
Yeah, living up to the hype. Already a fight here in admin because it's such a powerful position. There was also, I think, seemingly a fight maybe going to happen in Visitor Center, but I almost don't care about it right now. We'll see who comes out on top of that one, because right now it's just about this fight right here around the brick. If it slows down, maybe we'll check in, but we'll see. Patience, obviously, always the virtue in operations, but right now, maintaining a power position around this brick and where it spawns, it's going to be nearly everything.
Up the stairs we go, and well, BTW already found 365K, and that's respectable.
Yeah,
but I
does...
do...
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we have a hack plot with Shigwa here, your number one MVP game-winning race there.
Device is located. Get the brick at all costs.
And there is the Mantle Brick able to be grabbed. And I was going to say, it does look like that fight in Visitor Center didn't last very long, if at all. They just kind of looked at each other for a second and said, nah, backed out of it. BTW played slow last time too, Tiff, so I can't imagine they're going to play very slow this map.
Stop them.
Much slower pace than what we had previously seen. As you can see, January here, Mantle Brick in hand, locked into the Luna vibes. Of course, Mantle Brick rounds, you know, and Luna go hand in hand together. But we're going to make our way over towards this parking lot. You can see the detection arrow going out, looking for some information. But we're just hightailing it over here. Very reminiscent of what we witnessed in game number 4 on Zero Dam just a few hours ago. Now, look for a defensive setup as we start the decoding here. Now, some of the craziest fights happened. We saw jump peaks through these small window areas. So I'm curious how they're going to set up the defense, as FBWL will likely be the team that gets there the quickest.
Yeah.
If they decide to push that pressure.
You're so right, Tim. It's the exact same fight as just before in Zero Dam Mantle Brick round in Europe. Final round of the day. And it was L'Esperance de la Teste that was able to put it in immediately. They did the same thing. They grabbed the brick and sprinted. And now it looks like, hold on, interesting strategy here from the Boomers. I'm over here looking at Visitor Center, and I'm looking at Tsunami and Team Squidward that's potentially running for this brick as well. The Boomers said, we're going to start the decode, and we're going to leave. We're going to go to the damn extract and play camp to see if people cross, and then potentially go retake rather than trying to hold that building versus multiple teams. But FBWL doesn't seem too pressed to get there immediately. It's going to be them and Team Squidward to potentially push on this. They know they have 4 minutes, which is a decent amount on the clock. But everybody knows this thing is decoding right now. And everybody's playing slow, even though the Boomers aren't even on the decoding station right now. What in the world?
Boomers do boomer things, I guess. This is where you want to hear their comms. You want to hear kind of what vibes they're thinking when it comes to this. If they're going to play for a bait and switch, right? Set the trap. Let a team full walk on it. Start getting the decode. Maybe they just go in, completely wipe that team and steal it back.
Looks like there is a fight happening down here in Visitor Center, and right now it is not going well for Grim Unity. A quick look before we get back to the brick is BTW not only playing slow, but also winning their fights, getting their loot in Visitor Center and whittling down Grim Unity. They take down one player fully, and it looks like Smile is in deep trouble. So I want to say 2 are actually down. I want to say Grim is full out. I know it says he's not. They're just chasing one player. The Hackclaw's trying to get any read on where that player went, but can't find anything. You do see Door pick up that final kill, so I think Grim Unity is actually full out after that moment. Wild. Now, here's a quick look back at our map. And while that was happening, BTW, congrats, you're on top of the leaderboard, and you've wiped Grim Unity. Look at the decoding station. Nobody's there holding it. It's got a minute and a half left, and now finally Team Squidward is actually the team that wrapped through the storage containers tip, swung all the way around, is going to get to the decoding station first, potentially reset it. Yes, there's 60 seconds. Whenever somebody steals it, it goes to 2.5 minutes.
This is dirty. I think everyone's going to fight over the Mandel brick. They did half the work the Boomers did. But once you kind of set this trap where you have BTW, you've got Squidward, FBWL on it, maybe you let them kind of kill each other off and you swing in for the last moment. You've already set the precedent.
Well, I mean, everybody's thinking, where is this team? The decoding station's right here. Boomers have got to be in here somewhere, right? So they're slow peeking every corner. The Boomers are nowhere near this. They're hanging out in the extraction point saying, yeah, good luck, guys. Have fun. We're going to come up and clean everybody else up. And here's the first fight. It's going to be Team Squidward, FBWL in an encounter. Here comes the third party, though. BTW came sprinting from Visitor Station and traded out one player for TS. This is going to weaken things for FBWL to potentially win this fight now, as they're the only team with 3 different players on that squad. Quick look, though. Howell's going massive, picking up 2. One more player trying to clean up, and no chance. Team Squidward is out of here. The decoding station has been stolen. Now it's going to FBWL with all 3 players on the point. The Boomers, an interesting strategy, and it's caused a couple teams to fall here quickly and a couple teams to be weak.
All right, FBWL hitting the setup. I mean, you've got 2 engineers and you have a stinger, which I feel like if you're playing defensive, you should be able to set up with those engineers very nicely. And you can see the Boomers over in that hallway where we see a lot of those fights for the extraction point kind of playing from. It's not a long rotation from there towards the parking lot near where the decoding station is. So keep tabs on that. But BTW has to find a res, has to get back to full health, and maybe look for a push onto it.
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, they get their full rest. I mean, BTW's full back onto the map. One thing I saw, obviously, Boomers hanging out in the extraction. SDLG is doing the wall breaker mission. They said, all right, you guys can do whatever you want with the middle break. We're going to get some loot. We need some loot value. We want better gear in the next map. Let's see if we can pull something crazy out of the wall breaker. So we got a team listening to some dope music, doing wall breaker, hanging out. The Boomers drop the mantle brick, run to the extraction point, and just dance. And then BTW and FBWL are fighting over this decoding station. And we got to check the timer because it's got to be low. 2 minutes on the timer. So we got plenty of time still, but what a wild map. This is crazy.
Things I didn't expect for $500 are going down here in the North American Operation Season 2 finals, but it's fine. It's fine. FBWL, they're set up defensively, so keeping tabs on these. I like that you've got some good angles here, not only behind the crates, but on the stairway. You can just make sure you play off the audio cue.
Yeah, and again, they're going to play slow, just trying to find an angle. I mean, this is what most teams do. You're going to have one person play back kind of on an off angle so that they do swing in on your first kind of forward person to be able to play cleanup on a trade that they don't expect. First engagement here. Should have about a minute and a half on the clock. So you've got time.
This is the last chance to get that brick back. We cannot let them go.
No way the Boomers don't come back, right?
They might be playing the long game. I don't know. But we've got a trade here between the two players. BTW and FBWL both get knocked, trading one player out apiece.
Jiwa, okay. We're gonna jiggle peek the corner here. Can we get some early shots out? We do. Goodbye. One member of FBWL down and out. And now we're just kind of cleaning house. There is gonna be one player still upstanding, and you can see them just behind them in the distance. And here come the Boomers. Better late than never.
Yeah, nice cleanup here. Boomers. They said late's exactly what we wanted to be here. Unfortunately, as they go for the steal, FBWL still has one up in the corner. They should trade this out, no problem. FBWL is out of here. SDLG and the Boomers are the only players left on the map with what I thought was maybe a bit of a risky strategy. Plant the mantle brick, let everyone fight, leave, wait as long as possible, then come in third party. It worked perfectly. It literally couldn't have been a better plan from the Boomers. They may be old, but they have pulled out a crazy high IQ strategy that has absolutely paid off. It was risky. It didn't come without risk, but it absolutely paid off. Now, here's the interesting thing, right? They were able to set back up. They were able to start the decode again. 2.5 minutes now on the clock since they stole it. It was probably got down to about 30 seconds again. There is one more team. SDLG did Wallbreaker. They were listening to some good tunes. They're like, should we maybe go for this mantle brick now? There's a ton of people dead. And it's going to be a true 3v3 for this brick to see whoever's going to be at the top of the leaderboard. Whoever gets it, gets it. And you never know. With 5 minutes on the clock, there's plenty of time for a couple steals before potentially nobody does.
Ooh, I can't believe that actually worked. Like, I genuinely cannot believe that.
Well, honestly, the strategy makes sense. I just thought they would go back in on the first fight. The fact that they had enough patience to wait and say, no, don't worry, there will be more. That's what got me. I think that was what was so impressive, right? Was that they were so patient that they waited for the first fight to fully finish, knew there was going to be a second one, probably because they had some information on who was still over there. They heard two teams still. Waited, then made the move. Whoever's IGL over there, in-game leader, calling that, really smart play. But they still got a work to do if SDLG decides to fight this. Still a true 3v3, but they do have power position.
Patience. I don't even think they're going to go for it. Look at that.
Wow.
You get a good line of sight. We saw Stalker. That was the Suniva in game number 1 on Zero Dam, and he was kind of just hitting the airdrop and then drops the shield, and we're just making a play. We saw him get ripped apart. So it looks like they may be just going to hit an extract after taking out a ton of loot. That's the long game, right? Mind you, this is the first Mandel Brick round. You won't see another until we get into map number 4. So if they have 2.8 mil for SDLG, that's a good amount. Boomers have done a valiant work here, though.
Yeah, we just get to sit back and now enjoy both of these teams and what they've been able to do. Now, we're going to get it. I think, yeah, they're standing on it, but it's like 20 seconds left. So they're going to get it and I think get out. I think they'll have time to fully extract here to at least get some loot on the board. Again, the Mandel Brick is our first ranking metric, folks. So the first thing to remember is that the leaderboard will always be ranked on if you have a Mandel Brick or not first, and then your overall total assets of your players all combined. So the first Mandel Brick has been taken. Congratulations to the Boomers. They're going to be at the top of the leaderboard, no questions asked. And they've got about 3 minutes to try to get out of this map as well. SDLG, they felt confident that they just do wall breaker, hang out, and then get out of the map. Everybody else can fight and do whatever they want. We want to make sure we've got loot value so that we can play for a higher position on the leaderboard later. Like you said, Tiff, it's a long game versus a, hey, let's go to the top now. And the Boomers were able to do it all in one map with a crazy strategy. It's worked flawlessly, and I'm impressed, I gotta say.
Yeah, same. Considering, and they came from semifinals B, and quite frankly, yeah, it wasn't close by any means, right? They had about, I believe, like 11 mil loot value over 4th place, but they didn't acquire a Mandel Brick. The only teams coming from semifinals B that had Mandel Bricks were Squidward and BTW. So this is very reminiscent of Les Gérants de Lattès. And what did Zaphok say at the end of the Europe broadcast? He gave his shout outs to North America, right? Wished them the best. And now I feel like Boomers are kind of stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I mean, the other thing about the Boomers too is that I remember it was nowhere. I think the type, hey, we understand now after the semifinals. They were like, there's a lot of strategy here. There's some studying to be done. Apparently, the studying paid off. Very well executed. We'll see if they decide, not decide. We'll see if they can get to an extract point. Regardless of what happens, even if they don't get out here in the next minute and a half or so, they're still obviously going to get that mantle brick. Still going to be at the top of the leaderboard no matter what. They'd like to get out with the loot, of course, because they do have a decent amount, actually 4.3 mil on their persons right now. But I think they're looking at the map, trying to figure out, is there a way for us to get out? They're going to try this extraction over here by the pipes. Let's see if they can get out with at least something. And it does, by the way, that the safe boxes do count. You can put stuff in your safe box. Obviously, it's only a 3x3, so you can only put so much in there. The AI are going to take some shots and say, you're not getting out without a couple bullets thrown down range. I think for some of our players, it's just a matter of, hey, can I find any loot that's worth taking out through safe box? And I'm just not going to worry about getting onto the map.
Hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Let's take a look at the safe box. There we go. Add a nice coin to it. All right. Anything else of value? A little speed run. Okay. Some silver, sure.
Not bad. 20 seconds. And by not bad, that's pretty bad. And you got to get better loot than that. But we'll take whatever we can get. You put anything in that safe box, it's points on the board. If you guys watched EU, by the way, oh, nice. Hey, we'll take some purple ammo. That'll stack up. A little tier 4 ammo. If you watch the EU, we believe there was I think you guys are drawn to the strategies of Grim Unity. We've got 3 operators that are not able to be used anymore. They've used both their Lunas, both their Noxes, and both their D-Wolves, and none of the others.
Yeah, I definitely saw some updates coming through just last minute as you look at SDLG. No Stinger, no Aluru. Good luck, have fun. So there are some changes, and I love that we saw some Nox come out and be used early on. Of course, Grim Unity can't use Nox at all anymore, and that the fact that they can't use Luna now,
yeah,
that's tough unless they're more comfortable on Hat Claw. And I'm okay with that, right? If that's kind of where they rely on, because when you're creating your teams and your rosters for this specific new format, you have to be able to flex and be absolutely a heavy hitter on multiple operators.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's going to be a lot of thinking on your feet, but overall, strong leaderboard right now. SDLG in second, FBWL in third. Here's a quick look from our last round, though. BTW yet again. This time, a different player from BTW on top with 4 kills. So they've grabbed another round MVP. This is going to be Dorimon's first round MVP. So congratulations to this player because you're going to have 1 round MVP, which is going to be cataloged for the overall MVP race. So looking forward to seeing what these teams are able to do. And obviously the extra $1,000 on the line for the top individual players throughout the course of this event. Tiff, this is fun.
Super fun. Super fun. Honestly, it's been really respectable. Let's go ahead and jump on over to see the ties up on the MVP race. But honestly, it's all BTW all day. Jigua and Dorimon, they're tied 1-1 on the MVP race. And looks like just by kind of some values behind the scene, the Boomers make an appearance. Nowhere.
Yeah, that is true. Nowhere is on there just for the sake of showing that third player who was very close. But these 2 players are our top 2 players, the top 2 players from the last 2 rounds in terms of kills, playing for that overall MVP race. Whoever has the most at the end of all of our maps today will get the overall $1,000 for that individual, which is really exciting. Now, Tiff, as we get into our next game, we are going to Brackish. Talk to me a little bit about Brackish.
Ooh.